We are live on Facebook, and I'm here with Pastor Joe Barber. Before we start recording the episode for the radio, Church of the Week, podcast, everything, we want to say hi to you guys on Facebook Live and tell you guys if you get a chance to share this out there, like, comment. Anytime I spend with Pastor Barber is a major blessing for me, and I'm really excited about today. But you sharing it out there will allow more people to see it. So if you get an opportunity to do that, we're excited to be with you. And let's go. We have executive producer. I don't know if that's your official title, if I just gave it to you, but we have an incredible producer behind who's going to get us ready for the radio show and jump into it. So anytime you're ready, Mark, we are ready. Welcome to Church of the Week. It's a program that is featured on AM 630 The Word. You can also find it on KSLR.com. And a shout out to our sponsor, Let Us Unite. It is an incredible event that's coming up in San Antonio, Texas, that is on Memorial Day weekend. LetUsUnite.com. You can see it there and catch it on Facebook as well. But my name's Chad Schapiro. I have the blessing of being able to work with Texas Baptist. I also help lead a Pastor Strong initiative, and it is so fun to get to know and cheer on these amazing pastors and leaders like we have here today with Pastor Joe Barber. So I'm going to introduce him, maybe tell him where your church is, and let's at least start with that. Pastor Barber, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me, my brother. It definitely is a blessing to be here and to be with you one more time. You definitely are my friend and brother. I am the pastor of the St. Luke Baptist Church located on the west side of San Antonio, Texas, 1903 West Poplar Street, on the beautiful west side of San Antonio. I guess I should say historical, but we've been there. Now the Lord has allowed us to be there as pastor 20 years, and we've been in the community practically all of our life.
Yeah. And speaking of that, you've been in the community. So how did you get your call to ministry even in the first place? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Man, it's one of those things, I tell you, we laugh about that all the time, but it's one of those things where I happened to come to St. Luke, dating my wife at the time. We always make a joke about this. I came to St. Luke back in the day when it was Jerry Curls, and I came to St. Luke looking to be with my wife and courting her at the time, and the pastor at that time asked me to meet him after service one Sunday, and I've been in church all my life, so I'm not unfamiliar with church and how to have church and enjoying worship. But after service, he called me in his office and he said, "Son, I need to ask you a question." And what do you need me? What is it that you need me to do? He said, "I need to ask you, have you been running from your calling?" And when he asked me that question, it was one of those hit in the gut, knock you to the knees type of thing. I openly wept. I collapsed on the floor crying, crying like my heart out, and acknowledged that I had truly been running from the calling for many years. I'm kind of like Jonah when God said go. I went to California and thought maybe I could get lost in the crowd of Hollywood and in the hills of Baldwin and in Watts, California, or Compton, California, and I figured God would pass me by with that calling. But that's how I acknowledged my calling. That's how I surrendered to the calling. That's where I surrendered. And as God would have it, I ended up being the pastor of the church where I announced my calling at after many years of serving there previously.
I love it. I love it. And some of you guys that are listening and watching to this right now, you may be getting a nudge from God right now, into your calling. And just like Pastor Joe did back then, and I've had the blessing and honor of being able to be part of church starting cohorts with you, where we learned all kinds of things. And that could be you listening here today that maybe you need to step forward in it. But maybe you could talk about your church's history a little bit. You mentioned that you came in there way before you were the pastor, and then but talk about your church has a rich history.
St. Luke Baptist Church is we're celebrating 103 years in the West Side community. We're a landmark of the West Side. We've been there for well, 120, 103 years, and we are a daughter of the New Light Baptist Church. We were established, come out of New Light Church. But anyway, the history of St. Luke has been there. I've pastored. The longest tenured pastor would be Pastor W.J. Johnson. That really was the longest tenured pastor there during the early 60s, and he was the pastor there. He's pastored there, I believe, 40 years. St. Luke has been there. It's been known as a teaching church. It's been known as a established African-American church throughout the community for all those years. Generations have gone to St. Luke. You mentioned West Side, and most people say, oh, yeah, I know St. Luke, because of it being there in that community for all those years.
Wow, it's so great. And I know you got some new, fresh signs, because I want to thank Texas Baptist. That was fun. I got to be able to drop off a check over there. There was a grant for some new, beautiful signs.
Oh, yes, man, because we were having because of Texas Baptist, here's just fun story of that. We were having a revitalization of meeting. We were really doing some strategic planning of
the PAVE, incredible
through
program,
PAVE, right, through PAVE, and we were working with the training with Lee Williams III, and he was helping us to format vision, and he made a statement during one of the meetings. He said, I can tell that you're a church that needs revitalization because you don't have any signs that say you're a church. And it like hit me like bing, light came on. I said, wow, you're right, because
Pastor Lee's amazing,
because the signs were very old.
Yeah.
And but my strategic team said, yeah, you're right. And so thank God we moved expeditiously on getting those signs placed on the walls in prominent areas where people would see and know that we are a church on the corner, not just a big white building on the corner.
Yeah.
We are the church on the corner.
Yeah, it looks good. You sent me some of the pictures, and I'm excited that we got those up for you. What are some of the lessons, some of the biggest lessons you've learned in ministry that you could share with us?
Well, the biggest lesson, and one that I really hold near and dear to the heart, is to really establish ourselves as the church that's in the community, but working with the community for kingdom impact. So many times I've heard this over the years that 11 o'clock hour is the most segregated hour around, where people just seem to close off. And that was a terrible thing, indictment against us as Christians, to say that we're set off. What happened with St. Luke, well, fortunately, the community changed so much that people weren't coming to service anymore because of the demographics changing. And also people weren't going out because they had the mindset that people still would come to the church. To change that mindset, we had to get into the idea that the church would have to be involved in things in the community that would change it culturally, demographically, situationally, so that required us to rethink the way that we did church 50 years ago. So that's been the challenge, and that's been like a blessing to see that we can expand, and thanks for a lot of guys that we through Sin, through Saba, through all these guys that kind of help us to think outside of the box and provide us with resources to help us to do those things. But here's the thing though, without changing being an African-American church. That was the whole thing, that we didn't want to change being an African-American church. We wanted to hold on to our roots, but we still want to be relevant in a changing community.
Yeah, I love it. And you've been able to, I met you in Saba, so grateful for them, the San Antonio Baptist Association, and you're part of Pastor Strong, and come off into the lunches and different things like that, and retreats, the marriage retreats, different things.
Yes. Marriage retreats, man. Interesting. My wife and I, the first marriage retreat we went to, we've been married. We're celebrating 38 years of marriage now, and we're sitting in a retreat, and we're talking about marriage. And I'm going like, we've been knowing each other and courting each other for years. What do we need to be in a marriage session? We've been married a long time, girl. And one of the great things that we did, which blew my mind, they had an exercise where we looked in each other's eyes, and we talk to each other about our love for each other by looking in their eyes and saying something positive and something heartfelt to them. That was Man, that was eye opening. I laughed at that. It kind of felt kind of strange because I started realizing how many years I've been married, and I never really took time to just spend time just looking directly in my wife's eyes and sharing my thoughts with her during that time. So now, guess what? We have them locking eyes with each other on a pretty regular basis now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. As I'm looking in my wife's eyes, I started realizing, and appreciating just how beautiful my wife is.
Wow. Praise God.
What a great gift it is. Sometimes in ministry, we so busy doing God's work that we overlook and don't pay attention to that great gift that's right in front of us.
Yeah, I understand. That's so good. You mentioned serving the community, and what kind of things do you guys do over at St. Luke's?
Oh, man. We've been blessed to be able to, we have a clinic that we have called it Wellness Wednesday, where we provide services, blood pressure tests, HIV testing. We have a doctor that would come and do physical exams and things for people that are in the community. In the community where we are, many of the people don't either don't have insurance or they're unable to get to that type of thing. In our community, we have a lot of people that are homeless camps and things of this nature. Of course, they're not having any medical attention. We also have in environment of high intravenous drug use, substance abuse usage. So we have a lot of people that are having wounds from using drugs and things that need attention. They're having staph infections that they're really passing it on. So we have to address that. We also have a syringe exchange program at our church where monthly, we through partnerships, we dispose of up to almost 30,000 syringes per month. That's phenomenal. It's something that we have been working on. Myself personally, for up to 30 years, I've been involved in this, and thank God that He has allowed us to be able to come public saying that we do that instead of having it where we had to do it as a covert operation, because it is illegal to do that. But we have been doing this for upwards to 30 years in the San Antonio community. So St. Luke has been able to do that. And that's wonderful that we're able to do that, because now we're able to help a person understand that you can get off of drugs and alcohol, but by God,
praise God,
no matter what other program you go to, if God's not in it, it won't last. It won't last. It only lasts for a season or for 30 days or whatever the treatment program allows. But if you have put God in that mix, that faith bottle in there, and the church has been able to do that. We have a program we call it Let the Church Say Amen. And that's really what it is, really to allow the church to be able to say amen to the cooperation that we do as far as the health, the mental health, the substance abuse health, the deprivation of food, that we are active in that instead of just preaching on Sundays. We're active during the week.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. You are listening to Church of the Week, which is a program on AM 630 The Word. You can also find it on KSLR.com. Excited also that they are streaming these episodes live on Facebook. So if you are not a fan of the Facebook page, go over there, like it and share it and comment and get the word out. Also, a big shout out to our sponsor, Let Us Unite, which is an event that is coming up Memorial Day weekend, 2025. You want to learn more about that as well, you can go to letasunite.com, see links on different places featured by KSLR and AM 630 The Word about our great sponsor. We're grateful, like I said, for them. Some of the challenges in ministry. I know my wife and I have been in ministry for years now. It's not always an easy road. So what are some of the challenges you face and how have you navigated them?
The first challenge is what we're doing right now, to be able to use technology to move into that arena. When COVID came around, which really we thought it was a curse, but it ended up really being a blessing, because it's forced us to think outside the box, forced us to look at other ways that we could carry on God's word, do the work of God. We found out there wasn't anybody coming to church. Wasn't anybody coming, and we were afraid to come. We had to dispel that rumor that church was the only place that you could catch COVID. So we had to work on those things and learn technology. I'm even now experimenting or trying to learn. I thank God for some young people that are able to do this. Did you know that young people 12 and 13 years old can really work this stuff?
I love
You
it.
know, that so it's really expanded ministry, because now instead of having young people come and sit and listen to you, we have young people coming and being actively involved
I
in
love
the
it.
worship's experience because of their technology or their expertise with computers and cameras and this streaming that we're doing right now. Because I haven't foggiest idea what we're doing right now, but I know that there's someone that's working it even now. So I thank God for that. That was a
Yeah.
challenge. Then to get educated enough to be able to express ourselves in a way that would be generationally acceptable. No longer are we just stuck with the 3 points and a hymn or things of this nature. We had to go a little bit deeper, because now
Mhm.
when you say something, young people are looking at their phone and they're fact checking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
doing things, so you have to be pretty clear, what where we're reaching them and how we understand. This has been the challenge, but it's also been a tremendous blessing, in that it forces us to include every generation
wow.
in the worship service, in the worship experience,
Yeah,
in the ministry.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. Oh man, so great. Being able to adapt and change, and you guys have done that. I've seen Pastor Barber dig into all these different trainings and cohorts and things to be able to open yourself up to help lead the way. And I think we all need to follow with that. What advice would you give to somebody looking to get started in ministry?
I would hook up. I would connect myself with like-minded individuals. I would connect myself with someone that not only prays for you, but prays with you and connects with you, that will be able to encourage you in whatever your vision may be. I would encourage you to do that. For myself, I thank God for the individuals that not only just said, brother, I'm going to pray with you, pray for you, but they prayed with me. And as praying with me, they walked with me and connected me with uh, sources and resources that could help me to further my about the calling that God had on my life. One of the things that for me specifically was to be able to connect with people that didn't just look at me and say, "Oh, well, that won't work, brother," but would look at me and say, "Hey, how can we help you to make that
Amen.
work?"
Yeah.
And that would give us energy,
Mhm.
that would give us excitement,
Mhm.
to realize that we're not there alone. One of the great things I learned is even to know that as an African American pastor, that I could take a sabbatical.
Mhm.
I've been pastoring and preaching for a long time, and it was many years before I even entertained the idea or even
Yeah.
thought about the
Yeah.
idea of being able to take sabbaticals, and be able to take it in a context where I have a small membership.
Yeah.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
because usually as a pastor, you're 24/7
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
And to be able to think outside the box, say, hey, I can't pull back from the church, and the church won't die if I'm gone, and I can do things, and to be with people that can say, yeah, you can take a sabbatical. We can send somebody to help you. We can have
Mhm.
somebody to partner with you. I think that is the greatest
Yeah.
advice. That's the greatest thing to happen to me when I walked into somebody, a friend of mine, and say, hey man, you need to join Texas Baptist, or you need to come to Saba meeting, because they'll be able to come alongside you
Yeah.
and help you, not change you.
Yeah.
That was the fear. I didn't want to be changed. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
become some. I'm always going to be
Yeah.
who I am.
Amen.
But we're going to walk alongside you and let you be the best that God has you to be.
Amen.
That for me is the greatest thing that I could do.
Yeah. And one thing I learned from you, and I've told this story a few times to friends of mine, is that God will bless you, right? It says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. How he blesses you is different, right? And for every different person. And sometimes in a church plant or in a church where it's smaller, finances are not there, it's harder to see the blessings. But these partnerships that you've described, I would see you showing up for every retreat possible, everything that was handed out. And I learned from you that those were part of God's blessings, that God might not give you 100 grand to be able to take your own trip. But if this hotel or if this retreat is put there to support you and your wife and your ministry, then man, you're going to jump on every little thing that comes your way as part of God's blessings.
Exactly. Exactly. And to realize and accept the fact that you're received just as you are. That there's a thing that we have as different cultures. Sometimes you feel that you have to change your approach or change who you are to be able to access certain resources. But this is not the case, has not been the case. I'm able to be, by the grace of God, who I am in every context, in every situation. So I appreciate that. We've been friends, we've been brothers, and I haven't changed who I am.
Amen.
You know, I've allowed, God has allowed me to grow from who I am to become who he wants me to be. And I think that's great because of partnerships and connections.
I love it. I love it. Before we wrap up, what exciting things are you looking forward to with your church?
Oh, man, we're on a 5-year strategic plan. Oh, man, and I'm excited about this, man. We've been moving in this pave process. We had a record number of baptisms on last year. We were going 30 weeks in a row, man. We were just baptizing, man. Thank Jonathan Smith for that idea of pushing that forward and of baptizing one per Sunday. That was so excited. That was Now we're working on the discipling piece.
Amen.
Because boy, oh boy, that's becoming the hard work. Now this year, and I was just telling people, I thought it was just going to be 1 year, but it's really going to be 2 or 3 years. We're becoming dedicated, developed disciple makers. And we've been spending the past few months now just talking about being dedicated. We're dedicated to worship, dedicated to prayer, dedicated to service, dedicated to all those things and what it means to be that. This is so exciting. Man, my Bible study is growing. People are coming with their own illustrations and biblical examples and all this stuff. And I get excited because I'm just hippo happy that God is allowing me to do that. I have a Caleb spirit, you know that. So I can see what's going on, and I get excited because I'm saying, man, I can run a little while longer with this now. And that's what's going forward with us. We have a 5-year plan, and it's going just as God has designed it to be. I just can't. I'm going to hold on to see what the end's going to be like on this one.
Amen. I so love it. What I love too, and I think it's a good lesson for us all, is all these changes when you're trying to move forward and revitalize a church that's been there for a long time. You can feel like you need to do them all at once to try to move forward, but you have not had to do that. You know, the baptism piece was gigantic, but then it revealed another issue,
definitely.
right? Like, what do we do with them?
Most definitely. What do I do with all these people?
So that was another piece, right?
That was another piece. And it was eye-opening because under the old standard, it seemed that the pastor was in charge of all that he was the discipler. He was the one, and no one else was involved. Now with his piece, we're finding out that those that are in position, they should be discipling, and we have to disciple the disciplers. It's not just discipling those that we just baptized. We're discipling the disciplers, and the disciplers should be it's that's why I said it's going on and on and on and on, and it's exciting because now everybody has a job to do.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Well, I love you, my friend.
I love you more.
I love you more than anything you can say. we do this. See, I got 2 daughters, and my daughters would get me, and so I love you more than anything you can say. I usually get a laugh out of Joe, and the story's over right there. I got him at the end, but I want to thank you for being on here with us. This has been Church of the Week. We are so excited about Pastor Joe Barber with us. It's a program that is on AM 630 The Word, also KSLR.com, sponsored by Let Us Unite, which is a big event that's coming Memorial Day weekend here in San Antonio, Texas, 2025. You want to learn more about that. Any last words before we wrap it up? Any last words you'd like to share?
I thank God for allowing us to be of service. We call it, as St. Luke, we say we are the city on a hill. And I think that I believe that the only way that we can be a city on the hill, we have to realize that we are visible. People see us. We are the church and movement. So as they see us, they see the church. But we are viable. That means people can touch us. People can reach us. People can interact with us. And also we are vocal. We're not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We speak it out wherever we go. To coin a phrase from a friend of mine, brother mine, much beloved, we walk it like we talk it.
Yeah, I love that. Take care. God bless you.